right here, right now.
The following is brought to you in part by MFC Studios. The views of the show's host and guests do not necessarily reflect those of the management, owners, or staff of this radio station. And now, it came from the radio.
Yapatoy, and welcome once again to It Came From The Radio, the official show of the Big Apple Con. This is your host, Mark Torres, speaking. We are here live on Zoom for our 37th live show in front of a live studio audience, courtesy of the East Meadow Public Library. I am here with none other than our very own Pronto Comics, Dominic Definition Man Sperano.
I can't believe this is the 37th time.
Well, 37th live show. We have our regular show every week. So we're actually probably triple digits by now.
I can't believe we've been doing this now for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
And we have our senior correspondent, Charlie Saladino.
Hey, come on, everybody. Smile on your brothers. Everybody get together. Try to love one another.
Oh, and right on time, we have our very own From the Life with Jenner G's, Jen Elise Feldy.
Hello.
And we have, I thought you were going to do more. And we have our special guest who we're going to be talking to, with, and about, which is awesome because he's here. It's none other than Franchesco, the artist.
Hey, everybody.
So, as I mentioned before, we're going to be, there we go. We're going to be talking to, with, him, and about, but we have to do our news. So let's take it away with the news. The news is brought to you in part by the fine folks of the Big Apple Con, of which we are the official radio show, celebrating 25 years of comic book ness and pop culture stuff. For more information, go to www.bigapplecc.com. Listen to the next convention will be on May 1st and 2nd of 2021, in theory. And also, I want to do our shout-outs for the Patreons, of which there are Danny Grillo, award-winning director Jared Burrell, Kyle Horn, Millie Portez, Newsday famous Dresden Media, Unji-kun, Shadow Rabbit Art, and The Huracan, which is a convention in a church in Long Island. So if you want to get your own little shout-out, go to www.patreon.com and go to look up It Came From The Radio in the search bar, and just for $1, you can get your own little shout-out. But now let's take it away with the news. As always, we start off with the sad news. So we have longtime actress Conchata Gallon Farrell died recently from complications. What was that?
Conchetta.
It's nice. Conchata.
Conchetta.
All right. Thank you, senior correspondent Charlie Saladino.
That's why he's a senior correspondent.
Died recently from complications following a cardiac arrest. While perhaps best known for her role as Berta the housekeeper in 221 episodes of the CBS series 2.5 Men, Conchata also appeared in such shows / TV movies as Hot L Baltimore, BJ and the Bear, ER, the other one, Samaritan, the Mitch Snyder Story, Goodbye, Miss 4th of July, LA Law, A Peaceable Kingdom, Hollywood Dog, Opposites Attract, Deadly Intentions Again, Backfield in Motion, Hearts of Fire, Teen Angel, Modern Vampires, Postal Jerks, Grace and Frankie, and The Ranch, just to name a few. On the big screen, she appeared in such films as Mystic Pizza, Edward Scissorhands, Heaven and Earth, True Romance, Network, Four Keeps, Aaron Brockovich, Mr. Deeds, and Krampus, just to name a few. Are you guys fans of 2.5 Men or any of her many projects?
No, I like 2.5 Men. She was really some of the best lines.
Yeah, you go to YouTube and they actually they dissect them. They put her on their own thing, Bertha's lines. It's great.
Yes.
It's hysterical.
Francesco, you a fan of her? Did we lose Francesco? I think we lost Francesco.
Oh no, I'm here.
Oh.
Just listening.
Did you were you a fan of her?
He just
Did
went
you watch
straight
2.5
to black.
Men?
Well, of course, like somebody said that she had the best lines, and she cut it every time. She killed it every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All
And she
right.
kept Charlie Sheen in check.
What was that?
She kept Charlie Sheen in check on the
Yes.
show.
Yes, she did.
Wow.
Well, on the show, not in
On the show.
reality. No one can do that in reality.
Winning,
Well,
Winning.
AIDS did.
Winning.
winning.
AIDS
Winning.
kept, did AIDS even keep him in check?
Nope.
I don't think so, right?
Nope. Tiger blood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tiger blood.
Goals.
So let's see.
Winning.
For the last bit of sad news, because we only have a little bit of sad news this week.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
my
a little
God.
bit, a little bit.
This is the happiest sad news segment of all time, man.
Television game show host James Edward Narz, N-A-R-Z, better known by his stage name Tom Kennedy, also died recently. James hosted such game shows as You Don't Say, Split Second, Name That Tune, Password Plus, Dr. IQ, It's Your Bet, Break the Bank, To Say the Least, and Wordplay, just to name a few. Of note, I particularly remember him from his extremely short syndicated nighttime half-hour version of The Price is Right back in the 80s. So they tried to make a nighttime version, which was only a half an hour, and it was no Bob Barker. Let me just say that.
No. Bob
Charlie.
Barker all the way.
Charlie, you remember any of those shows back in the day?
Yeah, I even remember them in the day. Yeah.
Were you? Do you remember him? Are you a fan of his work?
Well, a show host is a show host. They're very good. They start out as announcers, and they go into hosting shows, and it's really, and I'm not saying this kidding around. It is really a skill. You have to get the timing, and you got to get all the rules, and it's a skill. So they are very skilled people. They are the skilled elite. So
They perfected the art of speaking, essentially.
yes,
That is
and
true.
yeah. So
he was
Yeah.
a young 93.
Mark,
Wow.
would you ever host a game show?
I was thinking about it, and I'm like, nah.
No.
Mark's game show would be I tell you nothing, and you would have to guess everything.
Yeah, that would be the great game show. Yes.
that would be Mark's game show.
Speaking of game shows, moving on to our not as sad news from
Not
the
as sad. Okay.
yes from the Don't Come On Down department. Due to the ongoing pandemic, for the first time in 48 years, The Price is Right will be recorded with no in-studio audience. Exec says, we quickly realized we're not going to be able to have 300 people on the show sitting close together. We decided that we're going to come back without an audience to maintain the safety as best we could for our talent, for contestants, our staff, and crew. That was the hardest part of all of this. The audience is such a core part of the show, and so we have to hope and know that everyone understands what's going on and how serious it is, and that we want to bring back this show for everyone, but it has to look different. If we want to come back, we have to do it safely. To that end, the entire set has been rebuilt. Each contestant on Bidder's Row will be 6 feet apart, and they'll be they pulled out all the audience chairs and installed a deck so that everything is now on the same level. So nobody's even walking up; they're just going to be standing there.
So what did they do? How did the contestants are going to be on the staff?
Well, from what I remember back in the day, because I was a huge Price is Right fan, not as much nowadays. The people used to line up outside, and the producers or whoever, the interns, whoever it was, used to talk to each and every single person. That's how they wrote their name tag and stuck it on their chest.
Right.
So
Right.
that's when they decided who was going to be on the show. And so then those names were just thrown into a pot, and then they pulled them out. So they didn't know.
So it was completely random.
Right. But it was based upon the conversations that they had.
Right.
So obviously, the people who seem more energetic and more this and more that were written down in like a little pad of people to choose from.
Right. But what my question is, where are they getting them from now?
Well, I'm sure there's going to be people waiting online to see the show, so just pick a couple.
Oh, so let's not gather in groups in the audience. Let's just gather in groups outside.
Yeah.
Outside is better.
Yes, there you
Wow.
go. Outside is better.
Why don't they just why don't they just take as many guests, get a summation of as many guests as on the hour show or half-hour show, put them in the audience, space them out, and call them up.
No, I'm actually curious
isn't
to
it-
see what they're gonna do.
Isn't the total amount of contestants about 8 people?
No. Well, because they each segment they have 6. They have 6, and then whoever else is in contestants row. So they always keep
Right, that's what I mean.
So there's the 6 and then the extras. So I guess like 8 to
Right.
10. Yeah.
It's like it's 4 people right in like bidder's row.
Right. And then they keep on pulling one out every segment. So that's
Every
6.
segment. So that's 6. So that's okay. It's about 10, I guess,
Yeah.
roughly speaking. The worst is if like you're the last guy to get called up to bidder's row and you have only one chance to get up on stage.
Yeah.
I always felt bad for that guy. I already felt bad anyway because I'm usually watching like The Price is Right because I'm homesick. You know, or it was the summertime.
Francesco, what were you going to say? I cut you off there. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm still not up on how to actually interject, but I think half the fun of that show was getting the reaction of the people in the audience, finding out they might actually be the big winner, and we're never going to see that now.
No.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, I wonder how it's gonna go, but I'm curious, but I think it's not gonna go well.
No,
And
you're missing an essential energy of the show.
And let me tell you something. I set up my Jack Daniels because I take a shot every time somebody runs down and falls. So I'm waiting for that. Oh no, man, he fell. Jack Daniels. So.
You're a horrible person, Charlie.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, did you ever see them? Did you ever see them run down? I mean, they all the people around them cheer and they push them out into the aisle and they bolt. And it's like, wow, this has to happen soon.
Right. The worst is when they couldn't find the person. And you just see the camera like going around
that's
this guy. We don't know where. Oh, I finally found. Oh, they're right there. Okay, completely missed them.
That's and then you're vomiting from the camera.
Yeah, you get motion sick from the camera motion. The second biggest thing about that show is like seeing if you can actually guess the price correctly, and then you get annoyed whether like if you're completely wrong about it, whatever the.
And then you have the guy. Sorry.
No, go ahead. You got it.
The first of all goes $1. It's like, okay, can you beat that?
Yes, always go with the $1. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's see. Moving on.
That was always a good move. Let's go $1,
and then
especially when you're like, all right, everyone is overbid horribly. $1. Boom, I'm in.
Yeah, and then everybody wants to kill him when he wins.
I always like the side eye. I always like the side eye.
They're just looking at you like. All
right, so let's see. Moving on. All right, so normally I do the news and I have it ready for whenever we record the show, and we do the show on a weekly basis. And sometimes we run out of time, so I don't have enough time for the news. So this particular news item is going to be interesting, and you'll find out in 1 second. So this item was a previous news segment item followed by the current news item segment. So this was a good one. So from the just because it's open doesn't mean you have to go department. Los Angeles Comic-Con has decided to move forward with the 2020 convention on December 11th and December 13th. Executives say, over the past 6 months, we've been struggling with a very important question. Should we even attempt to have LA Comic-Con in 2020? Since March, we've been living in some version of a lockdown, safer-at-home world, trying to stay safe, hoping and praying for the health and safety of ourselves, our family and friends and neighbors, and our fellow human beings. We're wearing masks, keeping socially distant, remaining thankful for frontline workers, and everyone is working hard to make a difference. And yet we yearn for just a little bit of normalcy to reclaim some aspect of the pre-COVID lives. So we ask ourselves, using all the information and precautions available to us, can we design and run a show in December that is both safe and fun for fans in a time of Corona? We put months of planning, and together with the LA Convention Center, we took guidance from the state, LA County, the mayor's office guidelines, and the answer is yes, we believe we can. So each day, the convention will be split into 2 5-hour sessions with industrial cleaning before, in between, and after each session. The event also plans to sell no more than 12,000 tickets to each individual session, with a goal of lowering fan density at the event by 75%. If fans don't want to physically attend the event, digital live streams will also be available. Whew.
Wow.
Like, look, so long as we're in this world of COVID, why even take the risk of even having close to a large gathering of people?
And how do they separate the sessions? What procedure are they going through to clear out one hall and get the old
Right.
people and get the new people? It's like the old movie things. You hide under the seat so you could see the feature again, you know?
That was, you
Yeah.
did?
Now, like I do an event at the end of August every year called the Long Island Scottish Games. It's a completely outdoor event in a big open field, and they canceled. They canceled it
Yeah.
this year. So because they get maybe 5,000 people to maybe more to the old Westbury Gardens in Long Island. So if they're going to cancel and that's completely outdoor, then why even attempt to have anything indoors? And certainly at 1,200 people a shot, like you're just asking for trouble.
Well, Francesco, you're an artist. You've done conventions. What do you feel on that?
Well, the jury's still out, because if you listen to the quote unquote science, if you listen to the quote unquote experts, it keeps changing. The message is not consistent. Like, is it outdoors? Is it indoors? Just this week, they said that social distancing doesn't make a difference. 6 feet apart, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Masks, maybe they work, maybe they don't. I wish somebody somewhere actually would come down and say, okay, this is how it is. Let's do that. But it varies, and it's hard to believe. It's hard to know who to believe. And so for me, the idea of going to a convention that the tables are 6 feet apart makes no sense, because it's all airborne anyways, unless we're in there with like hazmat suits. I don't see how that could work. So I would have to agree. Why have it? Because it's not going to be the same.
The
Let's
hazmat
wait it out.
convention?
Hazmat
Yeah.
convention. That'd be good. That'd be interesting if you did
Yep.
like a COVID convention, in which case it's just everybody's selling all the things that you need, like
Yeah.
all the gloves you could want, hazmat suits. That'd be kind of
I'm
fascinating.
thinking the Hazmat Con.
Yeah,
thinking
Hazmat Con.
the
That's good too.
Hazmat Con.
So
Yeah, unfortunately, the good thing about conventions is the energy in the room. It's like going
Right.
to a concert. Everybody's vibing to the same energy, and you can't have that. I just don't see how in this current climate.
I agree. I mean, like it's just there's a special thing about a con, especially a really good convention like New York Comic Con or
San Diego.
San Diego Con, even Cradle Con. There's a good vibe in the room, and
Or MCon.
Or MCon, yes.
especially MCon. Thank you, voice of God. It's like out of nowhere. But there's a vibe to it, and if we're going to have everything segregated out, 6 feet apart, you got to wear a million things. And don't get me wrong, there's certain aspects of the con that's good, but which we should be doing anyway. I hate the crowded aisles and the large groups of people, and obviously, as we know, that con funk that happens, but it does ruin the vibe.
Yes.
Who brought in the lion?
Yes.
There is a very well-known eatery by me, and it's very popular. And oh my God, you got to wait for a table and stuff. So they put it outdoors, and millions of people go, and they're cramming these people together. And I don't know how they're doing it. I love the place. I still won't go.
Right.
I still won't go because, it's ridiculous. You look from outside and it's like, wow, these people are on top of it. How are they getting away legally with that?
So
Francesco's point, though, about like not the thing is we're watching science unfold in real time, which is annoying and scary. We want a definitive answer, and unfortunately, they keep discovering new things. They're giving us the best answers they can, but you find something out. They just said before, like, oh, the virus can't live on the surface for more than 9 to 12 hours. And now they just came and said that the virus can live on surfaces up to 28 days, like money. So it's like, okay, so my plan now has to get redone again. And until you have at least concrete, and it's going to take a year or 2 years, maybe 3, concrete knowledge of what this virus does, how it spreads, you really can't have a convention.
So on the same note with that, from the What a Difference a Week Makes department. After initially announcing that the LA Comic-Con would happen this year, they have now backtracked and canceled this year's event. Executives now says, without guidelines, there is no way for LA County, the city, or event organizers like us to know the plans and changes we made to be COVID safe will be right or even enough.
Exactly.
No, that's not. That wasn't it. Executives say, "Hey, we just been listening to it. Came from the radio, and I don't think this
That's
is a
right.
good idea."
That's right.
That's
We're
what they say.
influencers. We're influencers. Yeah, Governor Newsom of California just came along and Gibbs slapped the people. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's not happening. No.
So initially they had passes that ranged from the regular 3-day passes for $72 all the way up to the early bird VVIP passes of $399. That's 2 V's.
That's what, very, very important person?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the organizers did say that the nearly 70% of available passes had been sold during the early bird sale. So within that 1 week, 70% of tickets were sold.
Well, that's the other problem. People are stupid. They're like, I need to get out and go to a convention. It's like, no, you really don't.
Yeah.
You don't. And I haven't been able to check out any of these virtual conventions. I'm sure
Yeah.
MCon's virtual convention was amazing, but to me, it's just, what's the point of a virtual convention? I might as well just watch it on TV. Might as well watch a documentary about a convention.
So I just thought that was hilarious that within 1 week they went from, we're going to do it, selling 70% of the tickets, and then, we're not going to do it.
So that's not just hilarious, that's hilarious.
Yeah. The weekend pass, they also tandem that with the ER pass.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So moving on to the final bit of news.
About damn time.
From the Do You Remember the Banana department?
I do. I had one this morning.
Last year, we reported that Italian artist. All right, here we go. Italian artist Maurizio Catalan. I know I'm butchering that name so badly.
Wow.
Maurizio. Maurizio. All right.
Okay.
Cattelan.
Catalan.
That guy. He made a piece he called the Comedian, which is a banana, which is duct taped to a solid wall, and a piece of artwork sold for $100,000 in an art gallery in Florida. Now, the same piece, different banana, has been donated to the Guggenheim Museum in Manhattan. The Guggenheim says, we're grateful recipients of the gift of the comedian, a further demonstration of the art's depth connection to the history of modern art, beyond which it offers very little stress to storage.
You sound nothing like the building.
See, actually, having been to the Guggenheim, I can tell you, he sounds like the people that work and run the
No, he said the Guggenheim says.
The
it's a
executives
building.
of the Guggenheim.
Right.
This is essentially the 21st century version of Duchamp's urinal, number one.
Yes,
and number two, it just shows the pomposity, or as they would say in that song, the pompousness of modern art and the people who run art in the world, like New York art scene and things like that. The arbiters of taste in terms of fine art. It shows how absolutely stupid they run things.
So
nobody
Franchesco, you're an artist.
Nobody was as more stupid. Wow, who's stupid now? As the guy who chained the dog to the pole, and the art was to watch it starve to death.
That's horrible.
That was god awful, and I think they had to take that away and stuff like that. Because that was insane. And I'm putting this out there now. Anybody has an idea about that, I will be visiting you with a Louisville Slugger.
So Francesco, you're an artist. What do you think of the banana on the duct tape? Did you hear about this?
Well, I did, and I think there's a certain artistry to being able to troll to that level that everybody knows. Even if you're not in the quote-unquote art world, you know about it. I mean, everybody here knows about that. It's inspired a lot of, I don't want to say copycat, what is it, homages, if you will.
Yes.
I've seen eggplants taped to a wall. I've seen, right? And so there's a certain artistry to trolling, and I think that can't be dismissed as stupidity. From where I stand, if you could figure out some kind of way to put food on the table and a roof over your head, more power to you. And
That's
it's
fair.
sold. Yeah, it's sold for some big money, but then again, it traveled even further. Excuse me, it traveled even further than anybody could have imagined.
The annoyance to me is not that someone thought of the idea. It's not even that they executed the idea. It's not even that the idea was popular for a minute. It's to the level that the art world had pushed it so far. That's where the stupidity is. And it's like, guys, do you not understand that this person is actually making a commentary, most likely, I'm guessing, making a commentary on how ridiculous your jobs are, and now you've made that commentary reality. It's like it would be, you didn't get the joke. You didn't realize you are the joke.
And that's part of the genius. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, it is genius, but it's also like it's the genius of the artist and a bit of the stupidity of the art world.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
of note, which is the reason why I said a different banana, is that the original banana that was taped to the wall was pulled off and eaten by artist David Datuna, who at the time called his own modern art statement, calling it "hungry artist." No criminal charges were filed, and the art gallery replaced the banana with a new one.
and God forbid some poor kid is eating a banana and walking out and gets arrested for stealing the artwork.
Now, does that now make it a collaboration piece?
Yeah.
Jen, you've been
saying.
quiet. Do you have a thought on a banana?
Yeah, you muted me, so I was being quiet.
Did I?
Yes, but I was also loud. Yeah, I love trolling. I live for trolling. I think you know this. I like trolling more than almost any other form of art. So I love the banana. And also the rotting banana is a great metaphor for New York City. So it's only appropriate that they put that rotting banana or banana that will rot in the Guggenheim in Manhattan.
There you go.
Fascinating thing. Bananas do not rot if they are never opened.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't crack that banana open, technically it's still okay to eat. In fact, the best bananas to make like a banana cream pie out of are the ones that are like completely brown and mushy.
But they do attract fruit flies because I did leave a banana in a bag in someone's house for weeks. And I went to visit them and I found my bag and they were saying they had fruit flies. And it turned out I was the reason why they had fruit flies.
So basically you were trolling them.
Not intentionally.
Okay.
I can attest to Jen trolling because I've seen her live under a bridge and ask for tolls.
Oh, boom, boom.
Oh.
I live under a plant now.
So that's it for our news. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back with It Came From the Radio.
Everybody, this is Todd McFarlane of the record-setting Spawn comic series. And if you're looking for any kind of cool conversation about creators, about entertainment, about all that good stuff, you go to It Came From the Radio. You're listening to the right spot.
Hi, you've heard my voice open and close the show. Now we want to hear your voice. If you have a business or product, you can record a commercial here. We offer 30 and 60-second spots. For more information, contact Mark at mfc_studios@hotmail.com.
This is Quentin Flynn, a popular voice actor known for Axel, Timon, and Raiden from the Metal Gear series. And you're listening to It Came From the Radio. Stick around.
Hey guys, this is Christy from Custom Cakes by Christy. I want you to know that I'm here for you. I'm keeping my private kitchen open for any needs your family may have. I've been focusing on breads, soups, muffins, quiches, and other basics, but I'm still accepting dessert orders as well. Please follow my Facebook for immediate pickup items. Private message me for custom orders. Custom Cakes by Christy, INC, KRISTY. Text me at 631-606-8166.
Mike Kingston, the writer and creator of Headlocks, and I am WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler. And guess what you're listening to? You're listening to It Came From the Radio.
The Book Depot has been in business 1993. Go one-stop comic book shop for comics, gaming, and collectibles. The Comic Book Depot Club membership is $15 and gets you 15% off new comics, back issues, graphic novels, and 10% off comic book supply. Located at 2847 Jerusalem Avenue in Wantagh, New York. Contact us on Facebook for curbside pickup because new comics are back. For more information, give Alan a call at 516-221-9337. The Comic Book Depot.
Hi, this is Amy Jo Johnson, writer-director from the film The Space Between, and you're listening to It Came From the Radio.
New comics are back. Cosmic Comics and Games ago. And now get ready for Joker War from DC Comics. Cosmic Comics and Games is open Wednesday from noon to 7, Thursday from 2 to 7, Friday from 2 to 7, and Saturday from noon. So if you want the latest Image or independent comics and comic book supplies, backing cards, please call Chuck at 516-763-1923 for all the details. Thank you and stay safe.
Meet Grimlock having fun on It Came From the Radio. Meet Greg Berger also.
Now, back to our show.
And welcome back to It Came From Radio, the official The Big Apple Con. This is your host, Mark Torres, speaking with the 37th live show, courtesy of the East Meadow Public Library. I have, that's www.eastmeadow.info. I have our senior correspondent, Charlie Saladino.
Hey.
It's a radio show. You got to say hi.
Pronto Comics, Esperano.
Hi, everybody. See, that's how that works, Charlie.
From the Life of Jenna G's, Jenna Lee Seldy.
Hi guys, how you doing?
See,
and our special guest who we're going to be talking to with in about none other than Franchesco.
Hey, hey.
Jen, that was like a perfect game show voice.
Exactly. The price is wrong.
So it's all about Franchesco. So I wanted to just briefly introduce Franchesco. I've known him for, geez, how long has it been? Like 100 years I've known you?
I think it's 101. Yes.
I always like
very good.
I always like to say the joke that we have. I don't know if you even remember this, Franchesco, that we said that we won't remember how we actually met, so we're just going to make up a story, and eventually that'll become the truth.
Well, you say a lie long enough, it does become the truth.
Yes. So we met in a volcano one day on an adventure, and then we became friends, and he decided to be an awesome artist. So tell us a little about your work and what you're most famous for.
Oh, God. I'm not really comfortable talking about myself. I think what I'm known for is not what I started out as. It seems like people really respond to when I draw pretty girls. And although I like to draw everything under the sun, I enjoy drawing everything under the sun. Whenever I put that out there, people seem to respond okay, I guess, maybe like a little bit of a golf clap. But when I draw a pretty girl, I get a standing ovation, and Mama didn't raise no starving artist. And so if that's what people like, that's what they're going to see from me. And lucky for me, though, I enjoy doing that. For a while there, I was doing a lot of cover work for Zenescope, and that's just pretty girl after pretty girl after pretty girl. And I would take time off of work to draw pretty girls. So it's not like I'm crying about it, but somebody somewhere said that life happens in between those moments when you actually try to do something on purpose.
I don't know.
Yeah. And so in spite of my best efforts to go down one particular road, this is where the journey has taken me, and I couldn't be happier.
When you decided to start out, were you like always, I'm going to be drawing pretty girls? That's what you wanted to do when you were young, Franchesco?
Oh, no, not at all. I just wanted to draw. Well, because a lot of people told me I couldn't, so that only made me want to do it even more. You tell me to do something, and yeah, okay, fine, but tell me I can't do something, and look out. And so I would go from convention to convention, thank God for conventions, and I would show my portfolio around, and I wouldn't even, it wasn't even the local conventions. I would go I would get on planes, trains, and automobiles to go to conventions from sea to shining sea, just to hopefully maybe one day get to draw comic books for reals. And eventually I broke in, but even to this day, I still feel like I'm trying to break in. And I got really lucky. So it wasn't that I wanted to draw pretty girls, I just wanted to draw. And what was really interesting, for the longest time, publishers would hire me to do what have you. Like one of the biggest joys for me was drawing a Green Lantern project for DC Comics. And I couldn't even sneak in a girl in the background walking down the street or something. It was just one male character in outer space pretty much the whole time. And it wasn't until Eric Larson from Image Comics who came along and said, hey, let me get this guy to draw a girl book. And that's, some of you who may not know, that's what they refer to comic books that have a female as the lead character. And I don't know if it was because of the bad girl craze around the time, or I think it might have been way after that. But long story short, he's the first guy who said, hey, let's do this. And I had a party drawing She-Dragon with him on one of the most exciting times for me, because I've always wanted to do something with Image, but to actually get to do it with one of the big guys, shoulder to shoulder, because he would do miniseries, he would do projects with other creators, but they were kind of like off on the fringe. But he actually wrote this particular story that I get to draw. And it was the first time that someone actually said, hey, let's scratch that itch. And then that's where more and more people got to see me draw pretty girls. And now I don't know if pigeonhole is a way to describe it, but hey, there could be worse things to be known for.
It's a tough gig, but someone's got to do it.
I know. Somebody cry me a river, please.
Yeah, I know, right? It's hard out there.
In the 90s, I remember there were actual other artists called quote unquote babe artists. That was like what their go-to was. But nowadays, like it's crazy how the field has changed from back then to now. How do you feel the industry has changed around you?
Well, the thing that I'm happy about is that we still have an industry, and because of COVID, it, from day to day, from week to week, we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. I'm just grateful we still have an industry. I think it's going to have to change. There's no way around it. The physical aspect of it has been affected slowly but surely over the years, but now because of COVID, it's really changed the game in such a way that, what was it, 2-3 months ago, that Diamond stopped distributing. And since they were the only real deal distributors, maybe there were some smaller ones, but once Diamond stops, that's it. The pipeline just came to a crashing halt. And so I'm just grateful we have an industry. But then we also live in a world where there's a lot of very vocal people, especially online, who feel like if you don't draw a particular character in a particular way, it can't even exist. Never mind, you pick up the remote and change the channel if you don't like that show. They just don't want it even to be available for people who might want that particular book. And so it's a very interesting time to be alive.
Jen, you have a question for Franchesco?
Yeah. Who inspired this?
Ooh.
Who's this based on?
Well, that's actually a client requested that. One of my favorite people, actually, speaking of She-Dragon, one of my favorite moments from that period was San Diego Comic-Con. I got a chance to do my very own signing, which was never going to happen. Leading up to Comic-Con, we weren't sure that She-Dragon was actually going to be coming out in time. And so, long story short, the book was going to come out finally, but the week after Comic-Con, which of course does nothing for me for Comic-Con. And people who don't know, San Diego Comic-Con was considered a Super Bowl. That was the con of the year. And so Eric Larson did me a giant favor. He's like, we really can't we really can't. Here, we'll cut that out. Well, what Eric did was he told me how it was. He's like, look, I can't promise you we're going to have copies of the book at the show. And I was like, I'm not worried about that. I wasn't going to go to San Diego that year. And so he was telling me, well, the book may not be there. I was like, I'm okay with that. I would rather go to San Diego Comic-Con and not have the book there, but I would feel horrible if I didn't go to Comic-Con that year. And lo and behold, the planets lined up and the book was actually at Comic-Con, but I wasn't there. So I rolled the dice and I showed up, and the fates were kind, and yes, the book was there. And I was like walking on air. I felt like $1 million. It was such a good moment. And I don't remember if it was Saturday or whatnot. I made the trek from Artist Alley to the image booth, which is a challenge in itself if you know what it's like trying to walk down those aisles. And the energy in the room, I mean, it was just intoxicating. It was so amazing. And add the fact that my book finally came out and I was just on cloud nine. I'm walking, get there, I sit down, me and Eric are, a huge line of people who wanted to get a copy of the book. We're signing books and I get a tap on my shoulder. I look behind me and it was Claiborne Moore. And Claiborne Moore is known for his amazing sculptures. He did some amazing work over the years featuring a lot of comic book characters. And he also did She-Dragon. Well, I don't know if it coincided or he just happened to have some statues with him, but he taps me on his shoulder and he's like, here, Franchesco, this is for you. And I just about fell over. You can knock me over with a feather. He presented me with my own She-Dragon statue. And I felt like I wanted to stand up and thank the Academy. It just had that same feel, that same weight to it, that what I'm imagining an Oscar would feel like. And so as high as I was at that moment, it catapulted me even higher. Well, fast forward to that cover that you just asked me about. Well, that's Claiborne Moore's character. He had created a statue called, oh my God, I'm blanking out here. It'll come to me. And so his character was named after that particular firearm. Oh man, somebody help me. We could put the subtitle underneath. I can't believe I'm blanking out on the name of the book. And he asked if I would be interested in doing some covers for his book. I was like, somebody, I pity the fool who tries to get in the way. I definitely wanted to go ahead and draw anything for him. And that was one of the covers he asked for, and I was happy to do it.
Thank you. It's very interesting.
Yeah. So that's all Claiborne Moore. He was always like, hey, let's do this. And I was like, yeah, let's go for it. So I went with it. Yeah.
Do you have real people that you use as muses often, or your muses? Who are your muses for the women?
People like you, beautiful women. I can't stop being inspired by beautiful women. They've always, and again, it wasn't intentional. That's just how things evolve. But yeah, I can't see myself getting tired of doing that ever. It hasn't happened yet. I don't see that happening.
Let us know when you get tired.
Okay.
Okay.
Charlie, you have a question for Franchesco?
Yes, I do. Franchesco, did you ever complete piece of artwork and you thought it was amazing and you were very happy with it, and it wasn't received as well as you thought it might have been?
Oh, all the time. See, what's really strange is you like, in my fantasy world, I like to think that I kind of have a sense of what people may or may not respond to. And what I love about the internet, warts and all, you have people who are unfiltered, and people will respond when they have something to respond to. So a lot of times when I do create something like you suggest, that I feel like, oh, people are totally going to dig this. I put it out there and, okay, maybe, but sometimes I just throw something out there, just, thinking whatever, not put too much thought into it. Maybe it's a work in progress. and people totally respond to it. So yeah, people who tell you they know what they're doing are lying to you, because if everybody, like the quote unquote experts, like at the big publishers, if they actually knew what they were doing, let me rephrase that, they know what they're doing, but if they actually had the secret, if they knew what the key was to unlock that lock, every book would be #1 every week.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
A good teacher always told me never admit anything is luck, because that's what it all is. Have you ever been contacted or worked with any tattoo artists?
Yes and no. I've been contacted to draw. Tattoos, but it was kind of in a roundabout way, but not by artists. It's more by the client, the person who wanted to get the tattoo. Right. Actually, I had someone reach out to me on a popular website back in the day called DeviantArt, and I would post my artwork on DeviantArt. And one of the covers that I drew for Zenescope, as a matter of fact, was something that was a little bit unusual, because most of the times when artists draw connecting covers, which is basically 2 covers that stand alone, but when you put them together, it makes one bigger picture. And usually they're put side by side. But me being the weirdo guy that I am, instead of doing them side by side, I put one on top of the other, just because. And so somebody saw that particular series of covers that I drew, and they actually made a sleeve out of that particular image, and they tattooed it from wrist to shoulder. I didn't know this at the time. So he reached out to me because he wanted 2 sleeves. So he wanted his other arm to match. So of course, I was more than happy to create something similar, yet very different. But the second time around, it was specifically for a tattoo, as opposed to someone saw a picture that they liked and they turned that into a tattoo.
That's pretty cool. That's really cool.
Thank you.
I was lucky enough I got to do a tattoo for someone once, but that's awesome.
Right? I mean, that doesn't happen every day. So
no.
Yeah. And again, in spite of my best efforts of trying to go down one particular place, people constantly surprise me with amazing opportunities.
So speaking of amazing opportunities, where is social media times? Where can people find you? All that fun stuff, links, websites. I know you just finished a Kickstarter campaign with was it Made in America?
Oh my God, yeah, that. Oh yeah, that was exciting in itself. Yeah.
Mark does his research.
Yes,
he does his research. He's really good.
I'm very impressed. Yeah, no, that was exciting for me because I've been thinking about doing something like that for a while now. And anyone who's ever done anything crowdfunding knows, I mean, I know now, but at the time I kind of imagined what it might be like. And wow, what a roller coaster ride that can be. And I'm grateful that people were willing to support it. And that's where my head is right now. Because of current, we've been talking about COVID this entire time, because of the way things are right now. Even when we quote unquote go back to how things were, it's never going to be exactly how things were. I mean, we have to change, we have to adapt. And so crowdfunding, I think, is the way to go. Whether it's Indiegogo, Kickstarter, or just directly from, I've seen a lot of people doing auctions on their social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and there's so many. And I do have accounts on a lot of them, but it's exhausting trying to keep up with all of them. And I'm mostly on Facebook, Patreon, and I'm trying to get more on Twitter and Instagram. But again, like I said, it's like a full-time job, and I'd rather spend that time drawing.
Well, what's your main site that people can just go to and check out your work?
Well, my main site is Franchesco.com, and one of these days I'm actually going to get that thing up and running for real.
Okay, I got to go see what it looks like now. Hold on.
Oh no, please! It's embarrassing. Yeah, no, it's one of those things where remember back in the day it was just like, hey, build a website, become a millionaire. The world is your oyster. Who goes to websites anymore? It's really about social media now. And so, it's Franchesco Artist on Facebook, or a variation of those things on all the other media. I don't even know them by heart, to be honest with you, because sometimes the names are taken. And my preference, of course, would be Fresco, which is Franchesco with the anch in the middle taken out of it. So it's much shorter because we live in an LOL world, an OMG world. So the less letters, the better. But every time I would put in Fresco, somebody beat me to it. So such is life. Because if anyone remembers back in the day, for people up and coming, the internet was a great way to collaborate or just get your work out there. Even before publishers gave us a shot, artists like me would post on Digital Webbing or Pencil Jack, and we would post our work, and it was like peer review. And artists would actually post and say, this works, this doesn't work, and so on and so forth. And that's how a lot of people met, like Robert Kirkman. He met Corey Walker, I think it was, and oh God, his name escapes me right now. Ryan Otley, there it is. And that's how Invincible came along. Through these really cool websites. And he was an indie guy. They were all indie guys, and now they're the mainstream. And they got Invincible has a cartoon coming out right now, I think on Amazon or something like that. And it's amazing what happens when people are really passionate about something. And even if the gatekeepers are not interested, that's okay. They still went ahead and did their thing, and then fast forward to today, and this is what we have. And so I think it's great that we live in a world where you can connect with people who may not necessarily be in your backyard. And so hopefully that still is an option, because I can't imagine trying to do what I'm doing right now, like 20, 30, 40 years ago, where, people had to go knock on doors and say, please, sir, could I, sing for myself?
Mail things in unsolicited, like hoping
Right?
someone like doesn't just put their coffee on top of it. I remember back in like 2014, CB Cebulski was saying at New York Comic Con, he's like, look, it's 2014. Just start making comics, put it out on the internet. We'll come find you if you're good. And that's what it's even more now. Just keep making and putting it out there. If you're really good, you'll get work. And if they see your progression, you'll eventually get work.
Well, that's the hope. But then again, I get to a point that I can't remember the last time I actually tried to quote unquote get work, because that was how you played the game. And back in the day, even before the internet, even before, you got to self-publish, because even if you did self-publish, most people wouldn't see your comic book, because retailers couldn't, they have limited shelf space. So I don't want to make the retailers the bad guys here. They have mouths to feed too. So if you wanted to get your stuff out there, maybe locally people would know what your book was, but it comes down to where I never was comfortable with that, knocking on doors, trying to get my work seen that way. I mean, just recently on Twitter, someone said, hey, looking for a cover artist. And I was like, why not? So I as I was actually posting one of the covers that I drew to say, hey man, I'd be interested in, doing some covers for you guys, it just felt gross. It just doesn't feel natural for me to actually sit there and say, please pick me, choose me, because I've been spoiled, and I've been fortunate enough to have people come knocking on my door and say, hey man, can you do something for me? And it's just like, as soon as I finish this, hopefully I have some time. And I was lucky, because as an artist, I'm sure you know what it feels like to walk down that tightrope without a safety net.
Oh, it's terrible. As you're trying to like sell yourself and things. That's the beauty of the internet. Like, you attract people who want your style, because the worst thing is like when you go like, hey, I can do a cover, and then they're like, all right, well, I want it to look like this, and you're like, oh, well, that's not my style, that's not what I do, that's not whatever. And you're like, all right, well, or they like, we love it, we hire you, okay, change a million things, and you're like, why don't you just draw it yourself then?
Exactly.
Just draw it yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, I've been fortunate though to work and collaborate with people and clients, especially like Clay Moore, who I have so much respect and love for. He was just like, he was a like-minded person. So he's like, hey, let's do this. Let's go down this way. And it's almost like a musician when you're harmonizing and you're both on the same wavelength, and you start riffing off each other and you go back and forth. And the way I like to work is including the client from the very beginning. So rather than like drawing the entire piece and then submitting and saying, what do you think? I like it where they have some input, so that they have their opportunity to say, hey, let's go this direction or that direction. And it's more fun for me because if they're not happy, I'm not happy. And knock on wood, I've been very fortunate that I've been able to collaborate with others who, we're not dropping the bombs like you said. They hire you but want you to do something completely alien to yourself. And so again, because of the way that things have evolved, I'm kind of like spoiled, where because of crowdfunding, like platforms like Patreon, now I have followers who are like, hey, Franchesco, just go do your thing, do what you're happy about, and we'll support you no matter what. And that's actually been able to allow me to scratch an itch that I was never able to, because back in the day, it was just like, how do you put food on the table? How do you put a roof over your head? And I was very fixated on the very next project that would pay the bills. And every time I would get that feeling like, ooh, wouldn't it be great if I could draw this? As soon as I have some free time, I'll do that. But let me eat my vegetables. I can't have my dessert right now. And it was like,
I think free time is the greatest myth of adulthood.
Well, speaking of free time, we're almost out of time, so we got to get to our final thoughts. So, Jennifer, do you have a final thought?
Final thoughts is, if you're spending a lot of time inside, you put plants inside, cleans the air, and it's very, very good for your mood. So get some plants. You're going to spend a lot of time inside. It really does wonders for your energy.
Charlie, do you have a final thought for us?
Yes, I'd like to thank Franchesco for coming on the show. Always support artists, especially this one. He does great work. And just be nice to everybody. Stop the hate.
Dominic, final thought?
I see that Franchesco has a great Patreon here, including a $1 per month level. You know who also has a $1 per month level?
Who else has?
It came from the radio, as well as myself on Patreon. It's Fishy Sarcasm on Patreon. Go check me out and become a $1 a month subscriber. I need money. I'm out of work. Help me, please. Help me.
Francesco, do you have any final thought for us?
I love you guys. Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun. Hopefully we can get to do it again sometime.
My final thought is this. Well, the dog is telling us it's almost time to go.
It's not my dog.
Like I said,
not my dog.
Like I said, I've known Francesco for quite some time, and I've actually hired him to do a couple of pieces. He actually did the cover on my comic book, and he actually has a print of ours for.
Did he draw Sunburst? Or
he did. That was his. That is his
That's
work.
Awesome.
So
That's
he
really
is
cool.
he is like my go-to like high-end cover guy. So if you guys want high-quality work, this is the man to go to. So
especially if it's about a girl.
yes. So before I do my ending show spiel, I want to just mention that our next live show will be on the 38th live show will be on November 11th with writer Robert Sodaro. He'll be there at 7 o'clock. Once again, courtesy of the East Meadow Public Library. The MCon is going on right now for the Winter Halloween's Fall Edition. That's going to have a voice actor panel with Austin Tyndall on October 23rd at 7 p.m. So once again, just go to www.eastmeadow.info for all that stuff, and hopefully you see us next week. So
wait, next month it's Bob. Bob's on?
Yes, Robert Sodaro is going to be.
I love Bob.
Yes,
Oh, yes. I can't wait.
So that about does it for this week on It Came From the Radio. Join us right here every week on this radio station. If you miss any part of the show,
tough.
Go to our website, www.itcamefromradio.com. Listen to archives will be up in a week or so. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. We have over 30 different podcast places to listen to. So make sure you guys check us out there. Check us out on our YouTube page. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
You've been listening to It Came From the Radio with Mark Torres. The views of the show's hosts and guests did not necessarily reflect that of the management, owners, or staff of the station. We now return you to your earthly scheduled broadcast.